Hello and welcome to my channel Happy Hours. In my last video I discussed about the rise of Japan and Meiji, where I discussed about the samurai and shogun and the commander Perry. Then I discussed about the rise of Japan, the great King Meiji, his restoration, his reforms and the war. In this video I am going to discuss about the Second World War, its causes, its phases and its consequences. So what are we waiting for? Let's start and discuss about the Second World War. Second World War, which started on the 1st September 1939 and ended on 2nd September 1945, was a global conflict between the two coalitions, the Allies and the Axis powers. Nearly all of the world's countries, including all the great powers, participated, with many investing all the available economic, industrial and scientific capabilities in pursuit of total war, blurring the distinction between the military and civilian resources. Tanks and aircraft played major roles, with the latter enabling the strategic bombing of population centers and delivery of only 2 nuclear weapons ever used in war. World War II was the deadliest conflict in history, resulting in 70 to 85 million fatalities, more than half of which were civilians. Millions died in genocide, including the Holocaust of European Jews, and by massacres, starvation, and disease. Following the Allied powers' victory, Germany, Austria, Japan, and Korea were occupied, and the war crimes tribunals were conducted against German and the Japanese leader. We can say that it was nothing but the extension of the First World War. Now we have to understand about the causes. The first was Treaty of Versailles, which was conducted in the year 1919. This treaty was enforced on Germany, despite the fact that the Woodrow Wilson formula was negation of old world order. Humiliating treaty was enforced on Germany. Therefore, in reaction of that Treaty of Versailles, aggressive nationalism evolved. Next is the failure of League of Nations. After the Vienna Congress, establishment of League of Nations was biggest factor. The League of Nations was very successful in dealing with the cases involving smaller countries. But whenever big powers were involved, League of Nations were helpless due to the lack of military power. So the big powers started imperialism and colonialism without any check. We can say that it was a puppet of England and France. It was not able to take any decision on its own. Next is fascism and Nazism. It was policy of nationalism. It was readiness to sacrifice for state. Both Hitler and Mussolini resigned from the League of Nations and started aggressive militarization. Next reason is the imperialism and colonialism. Germany invaded over Czechoslovakia and Austria. Italy invaded over Ethiopia, and Japan invaded over Manchuria. There was bone of conflict in many parts of the world. Next reason is the appeasement policy of England. In the manifesto of Nazi Party, there were many fundamental discussions like stopping the proliferation of communism in Germany. It was attracting England because the biggest enemy of capitalists is communism. France is enemy number 1 of Germany. And next is the possible expansion of Germany could be towards east. Therefore, England was in favor of Hitler. Hitler openly defied the League of Nations and declared Treaty of Versailles illegal. So he started militarization of Rhineland. These demands of Nazi Party were accepted by England, and it invaded over Poland. Despite the alarm of England, Hitler invaded over Poland. This led to the beginning of Second World War. These were the causes of the Second World War. Now I am going to discuss about the different phases of the war. The first phase was from 1939 to 40. Second was 1941 to 1944, and the last were in 1945. Now the first phase, 1939 to 40. There were two powers. First was Axis power, where Germany, Italy, and Japan were the member. Second was the Allied power, England and France. In between 1939 to 40, Germany defeated France, Belgium, and Holland. Now Germany had tremendous success. Secondly, USSR adopted forward war policy. The Foreign Ministry of Russia invited the foreign ministers of Baltic states like Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. The territorial integrity was assured. Military base was established in this place. So Russia and Germany war will be away from Russia border. This was early steps taken by Russia. It was symbolizing that Russia was planning to enter into the war. The second phase, 1941 to 1944. In this, three important incidents took place. First, Japan invaded over Pearl Harbor. So as a result, America entered in the war, and war dragged to Asia. Second was the Germany invasion over USSR. Germany was having 3-year war with USSR. Third and the last is Italy and England started fighting over control over Mediterranean Sea. Next is the third and the last phase. Hitler committed suicide after the defeat of Germany. Mussolini was killed by his own fascist forces. Fascist party was very much tired by Mussolini. He was always thinking about invading the other countries and war. So as a result, he was being killed. So by this war in Europe was over. There was massive defeat of Germany and Italy. But the war continued in Asia. It was in between America and Japan. Finally, America dropped nuclear weapons on Japan and the war ended. Next, we have to understand about the consequences of war. Many international meetings were organized like Bretton Woods Conference. This led to the establishment of IMF and the World Bank. San Francisco Summit, which led to the establishment of UNO. As per the UN Charter, there was abolition of imperialism and colonialism. Therefore, national movement started in many countries. Independent movement started in Asia and Africa. There was decline in power of England and France, and rise of new powers structured in USA and USSR. Beginning of Cold War between America bloc and the bloc of USSR. Third world countries was not in favor of joining the Cold War. Therefore, non-aligned movement had started and India was founding member. United Nations organization was established, which was more democratic than the League of Nations. New weapons of mass destruction was invented in the form of nuclear weapons. Beginning of new imperialism. Now the big powers like America and USSR started influencing the smaller countries in the name of security and exploited its resources. It is known as neo-imperialism. All these things were impact of the Second World War. By this we have understood about the Second World War. How the fascism and Nazism end with the suicide of Hitler and the killing of Mussolini and the bombarding of Japan in 1945, and about the consequences and about the beginning of new era of Cold War and a rise of non-aligned movement. With this, I am concluding my video. If you find it interesting, kindly like, share and subscribe. Thank you.